Thanks for tuning in to the T-Side Podcast. Today, I have a very special guest, one of my favorite people in the whole wide world, my brother, DeMarco. DeMarco, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello, Tawnya. So great to be here. And I'm so proud of you with your podcast as well. My name is DeMarco, and Tawnya thinks she is my second mama, and I think she is actually as well. She has definitely been an angel. Just growing up with an amazing sister like Tawnya, one of the things that made her amazing was being able to listen to so much great music, so many musicians, but also being able to hear a lot of songs that I probably should not have been listening to, and heard a lot of songs that was able to that exposed me to different understandings and different learnings than my friends did, because they weren't allowed to listen to certain things. But more importantly, some of the music really influenced me to pursue different things in life, which led me to just a life of volunteerism, a life of being involved in politics, as well as a life just involved in serving the community.
Okay. And I did not tell him to say all those nice things about me, but thank you. I appreciate it.
No problem.
And I do feel like I am his second mother.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But there's a big age difference. That's why I'm, I think, 7 years older than he is. So there's a big age difference.
Yep.
Which is, again, probably why he should not have been listening to some of the things he listened
Definitely
to.
not listening. Definitely should not have been listening to NWA or especially Choice. Should not have been listening to her at all.
See, that's underground. Most people don't even know about Choice, but
no,
whatever.
They think WAP is new. No, it's WAP is not new.
Nope, not at all.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so I let him pick the topic for today. So he wanted to talk about music and how it's influenced us over the years. So what are we talking about, Marco?
So I like to call this the topic alarm music. Alarm music that stimulates our conscious and verbalizes our realities. I call it alarm music because one of the gifts that my sister most likely contributed on when I was a young teenager was a CD player, an alarm clock CD player. And one of the great things about this alarm clock, it was that I was allowed to select the track of whatever CD I had in the CD player to wake up to. And I remember it was in 1994 where I had literally a rotation of certain CDs that would have certain songs on them that were really conscious heavy. And I really appreciated having those albums again, because I would not have heard about these artists if it wasn't for my sister. And one thing that I remember doing, it was being very conscious the night before, thinking about what song I wanted to wake up to the next day. And it was songs from Tupac's Me Against the World, the Coops, Genocide and Juice, or Goody Mob's Soul Food album. So I had a good balance of what music I was listening to as well. So, but we grew up in a very musical family. So that's one thing that my sister and I appreciate. That's one of the positive things that we got from my family.
I forgot to tell you all. Sorry to cut you off.
No, you good.
He's a deep thinker, so.
Oh yes.
Yeah, I don't know where he got it from.
I think very deeply.
See, he's trying to use my whatever. You know that's my song, but whatever. I just wanted to give you all a heads up. He's on a whole different level sometimes. Go ahead. Sometimes. So one of the things we are really value was music. Our dad, his birthday actually with me yesterday in this recording, but he always had music playing in the background, and for multiple reasons. But even then, even if it wasn't for him, our mother, of course, would have music playing, especially on cleaning up on Saturday mornings. For sure.
Yeah, and one of the things I really appreciated about our parents was, again, like they didn't really limit the music we were allowed to listen to, but they made sure that we understood what messages were being shared, whether they were positive or negative, and things like that. So I remember one of the times when I was listening to NWA or something of that nature, and our dad, who was a real life dope man at the time, but also a firefighter. So, he definitely had a heart of gold, was all said and done. But he asked me, and I was young, I was really young. He asked me, he's like, son, the things these guys are talking about, the fact that they're talking about them out loud, do you think they really do all this stuff. And of course, me being young and impressionable, I was like, yeah. But he also was like, well, if these guys are really doing half the stuff they're doing, how long do you think they'll live? And I was, at that age, I still knew, like, oh, they probably don't live that long. And then he said, you think if they are really doing those type of activities, are they really, how long do you think they will go until they get arrested? I'm like, yeah, I kind of are telling on themselves. They don't make sense. He was like, son, that's entertainment. Real gangsters don't say what they do out loud. That's not what they do. And it helped me understand entertainment all around. And even it was almost in a relationship to wrestling, right? It's sports entertainment. It's not real competitive. Like, we know somebody's already selected a winner and a loser. But when it came to music, it was about the message. What message is being displayed or being shared, and why is it being shared? The time it was being shared. So, and I remember there were certain things certain really fun things we used to do. Like Tawnya, she used to always record videos.
Always. I still have my VHS tapes.
VHS
Nothing to
tapes.
Play them on, but I still have them.
Right. Why was you recording videos so much?
So I could go back and watch them.
Right. Like that. Like, why would you do that?
Because I wanted to go back and watch them.
Like,
those were my jams, my favorite songs, my favorite artists.
Mm-hmm.
I needed to see them. I needed to see Levert Casanova 30 times in a row. I don't know.
Yeah. So I think that's one of the other great things is that we definitely value the genres, the different genres of music as well. So while we could, we definitely, like, we appreciate the R&B, but we definitely grew up hip hop. I mean, I think Tawnya is older than hip hop. So
shut up. I am not older than hip hop.
Okay.
I was born at the end of the same year it came out.
Oh, okay.
But still.
Right. So, and also one of the things that we also appreciate the value was the aspect of how religion, and not even necessarily religion, but just learning about religion actually played in our family as well. Because we definitely were always, somebody always took us to church at one point in time or another. And and therefore just learning different songs, but then also, trying to learn how to read the Bible, especially the old King James Version. That was challenging. It was tough. But then listening and hearing how certain songs definitely played out, or they would talk about the Bible as well. That made us even more interested in learning about the Bible. You was mentioning earlier about the KRS-One song that I've never even heard before.
Why is that? That's really the only reason I started listening.
That's the name of the song. Why is that?
Why is that?
Okay.
Yeah. It was on the blueprint of hip hop. It came out in 1989.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. Because I didn't understand anything that was being said in the Bible with all the thous and
right.
Yeah, I didn't get it.
The old King James Version was garbage.
Yeah, so I was like, well, if that's what they saying, then why don't they just say that? It didn't make sense. But I believe in that song he said, Genesis chapter 11 verse 10 explains the genealogy of Shem. So I could go back to Genesis chapter 11 verse 10 and literally look it up. Mm-hmm. And he was like, he was a black man out of Africa. I was like, really? Oh, yeah. Okay. So it really just gave me a new insight on, aside from understanding things that were being said in the Bible, it challenged my thinking.
Right.
That's why KRS-One is the teacher. There you go.
I think very deeply.
Shut up.
No, I remember listening and hearing the message by, what was that, Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five.
Yep.
And I remember listening to that when I got older, and it was incredible. Like, I mean, I was 10, 11. I mean, I think it came out, you said, in 1982?
82.
So I definitely was not listening. Like, I didn't have no comprehension of what was being said in 1982 because I was only one at the time, maybe one. But just listening, when I was listening to it, I'm like, wait a minute, when was this song made? Like, so that's what I think I like about certain music, certain albums, certain things. Is that not in the, you said it might be
in it's in some time vault of most influential hip hop songs or something like that.
Yeah. So if there's a fact checker out there, please let us know, right? Let us know if that's true or not. But if it's not true, then it should be true because it is definitely one of the greatest songs. And go ahead.
It definitely it gave you a picture of what was happening in real life in the neighborhoods.
Yeah.
I'm not from New York, but thinking, wow, is that really happening? Like, you know, junkies in the alley, baseball bats, like, whoa, you know, came and took my mother's TV, like, wow, it's just not healthy. You know, it was like, wow, that's crazy.
Right.
And I was like 8, maybe. But the visualization, I got the whole picture, like, wow, real life, that's really happening.
Right. And maybe one day Tawnya will tell the story of how somebody did take our great grandmother's TV and what happened after that. I'm not going to share that right now. That's for another topic because that was tragic. So, but there were other. So the message, Why Is That by KRS-One. The message.
Boogie Down Productions.
Yeah, thank you for correcting me. Thank you. Boogie Down Productions was another song. There were some other songs like that came up, and during the time frame, like what were some of the other songs that really made a difference to you when it came to like how you started to learn about the world in itself?
From some of the videos that I recorded,
Hey.
which I played over and over, so I could learn it
over and over.
Was Stetsasonic.
Oh yes.
Africa, Angola, Soweto, Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
I had no idea what they were. Where I'm like, oh, Africa, and you know, learning about Nelson Mandela and apartheid. Had no idea. No idea.
That's one of the things I ask people. Like, when did you first learn about such and such? Right? Like, when did you first learn about, let's just say, Nelson Mandela and apartheid? It too was through Stetsasonic. Even learning about countries of Africa. Like, now I'm not gonna go off into no deep tangent here, but people, it cracks me up. People say, go back to Africa. And I'm like, which country? I don't know which country you're talking about. Like, Angola? No. Zimbabwe, Tanzania, Zambia, Mozambique? Like, Botswana? But not only that, we have to, that's one of the great things I loved about that song was that it really did open up Africa itself, like, to us who, our parents didn't.
Middle America.
Right. And I mean, I think Black History was still just a week when that song came out. It might have been just starting to come up Black History Month.
It may have just become a month.
Right. So, and we still was still barely learning Black history from America's standpoint. But to know that Black history starts before even America was even conceived, because it goes back to Africa. And to be able to have a rap group that was relatively popular for, what song was it? The Way Sally Walks, which
I actually listened to yesterday, as a matter of fact.
Right. But, that song come on in the club now. People are like, oh, that's my jam, right? But no one plays Free South Africa. Like, no one plays that in the club, right? But it's amazing that group was able to, have The Way Sally Walks song and the Free South Africa and talk about nobody is free until we all free, like those type of concepts. That's the thing about music, about hip hop. Hip hop educates the masses. I'm not going to even talk about the whole cultural appropriation, but people did not know about things going on until NWA started talking about it. And it was like, whoa, right. That's drastic. Right. But everybody was relating to you know what, you're right, after police. And now first off, disclaimer, we don't we love the police. We love some people who are police officers, but the occupation itself is definitely still a challenge. And we have a brother who's a police officer, so we don't want all police officers to arrive home safely. Right? Let's make that clear. We want all police officers to arrive home safely. We also want our nieces and nephews who are not police officers to arrive home safely. And without having to say, hey, my daddy a police officer. The majority of the time, they most likely won't get that courtesy. So we definitely understand that. But there were other songs, so NWA definitely came out and just gut punched America, and it resonated. And I think that's one of the things about, again, hip hop. It resonates throughout different cities. There's experiencing some of the same things. Go ahead. Before NWA, maybe it was close around the same time, but you had Public Enemy. They were fighting the power. Oh, yeah. Fighting the powers that be. Mm-hmm.
They were woo.
Yeah. What's your favorite Public Enemy song and lyric? Go ahead, say. I know you want to.
Black Steel in the Hour of Chaos.
Mm-hmm.
I got a letter from the government the other day. Okay, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it.
Do it. You gotta get your energy up. Get it there. Go.
Nope. But yeah, that's my favorite.
As you all can tell, I like egging my sister, but I like it when she get when she get rowdy. I like that. So no, but yeah, definitely the Public Enemy again, like discussing, and I mean they were discussing the issue with the prison system.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, I remember seeing the video where they are rapping from behind bars, or even the album cover was like that, right? So
that was Black Steel in the Hour of Chaos.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, it just sounds like that. And then, of course, we're definitely not gonna get into the overall discussion, but the Self-Destruction came out, and that was a Self-Destruction that was also led by KRS-One and Boogie Down Productions and Miss Melanie and all those up in New York and the East Coast area. That was a huge song too. Mm-hmm. Well, what started Self-Destruction? Like, how do you remember? Like, what came about? Like, why?
I do, but of course I'm drawing a blank at the moment.
Okay,
but it was just about because it was a lot of gang wars. Ooh, yeah, I forgot about Colors. But yeah, it was a whole lot of black on black crime.
Okay,
you know, it was way before our time. Like, it was just a lot of stuff like that. Like, we destroying each other. Gotcha.
Yeah. And one of the things I did like about Self-Destruction, again, it talked about how, so the song did like discuss a few of the things that were influencing those who were involved in self-destruction, right? And even today, like you say the phrase like black on black crime, and that is always a popular thing. I let people know though that black on black crime is not a term that we should even be using, because no one says white on white crime or Asian on Asian crime. It's just crime. It's violence. Now I'm gonna get, again, I'm involved in politics and looking at systems. I often say that community violence and police violence are measurable manifestations of policy violence. Policy violence. When we look at the policies that were happening in New York at the time, and mind you, this might have been before or even during
with Reaganomics.
When you get into the stop and frisk policies, when you get into how the banks were allowed to be deregulated. All these things end up being styles of violence, but they're just so high up, or they're even political violence, or again, policy violence. And then we saw how, from Self-Destruction to the song Colors, and then Same Gang, with the West Coast All Stars. It talked about how there's just the destruction of communities, the destruction of black neighborhoods and communities were allowed. And again, it was through policies. So I appreciate and value the song. I loved hearing songs like Self-Destruction and even Same Gang. I remember when Mike Brown was murdered, the radio station literally played Fight the Power, Self-Destruction, Same Gang on like songs like that on August 9th, 2014. Now, unfortunately, they went right back to playing the same mumble rap songs.
Playlist,
the corporate playlist the next day. But it was just so much richness that stood out in the early 90s as well, that and I mean, again, I'm thinking of like Tupac's Mill Against the World is a classic, and so many others. So and you said, like, what song did you say that really stood out for you for Tupac? Was it Brenda's Got a Baby?
Yeah, it was really just, again, the story, because again, I feel things. It was pretty much just words. I didn't know him, didn't know anything about this Brenda, quote, character, person he was talking about, but I had the cassette single, as a matter of fact.
Wow.
I did, but I remember reading or hearing about it and like, wow, that was a true story. The problem was I was already feeling like some type of way about it, but to realize that that really was a real story, and things like that happen in real life. And although it didn't happen to me, I could relate in a certain way. And so, yeah, that was just really deep. I remember playing it. I played it for Mama.
Did you?
But I always played songs for her, and she didn't really care. She's like, okay, great, Tawnya. Yeah, all right.
Right.
And I was like, but listen, but he's saying, and then she got pregnant, and it was her, and she was like, okay, Tawnya, great. But she would always pretend like she was listening, which I appreciated, but I knew she really was not. But yeah, that was just really impactful for me. And honestly, he had two sides, more or less, but he, you know, he would have his party songs, but he talked about Dear Mama. He talked about things that were really going on, being from his family being Black Panthers. Right. He had a different outlook on things. And now, looking back, how wrong was he? Right. Exactly.
Right. I mean, to be so young and vibrant as well. I mean, I still listen to Tupacalypse Now, strictly for my niggas. Like, some of the things he was discussing sounds like a lot of things that are happening today. So, which I think it was also part of what makes certain music timeless. Again, we can talk about the message from 1982 as well. So, as you know, as we thinking about the music that's impacting us today, like what music would you say is connecting with you the same way today? Do you have any of like some of the like more modern artists?
You know what? I'm sure there is, but you know, I can't really think of any offhand, more or less. But I do remember, because I don't listen to a lot of today's stuff. I just can't do it. But I do like some Kendrick Lamar. In the one song, just because that's kind of where I'm at in my life, is sit down, be humble, just sit down, chill out. Like, you gotta be nice to the next person. Just because you don't know what's going on with the next person, clearly it's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on.
So you know, I do like some of the messages in his songs. With so much going on with George Floyd. Yes. Trey Songz came out with the song How Many More Times? Right. And actually D-Nice played it in Club Quarantine. He played it and I cried like a baby. I was like, oh Lord, why is my shirt wet? Like, I really, really cried. And then he played it again. And then I was able to really listen to it. But that was... Because that's really powerful. That's kind of how everybody was feeling. Yeah. Like, how much more can we take? How many more times we going to have to deal with this? Yeah. It's too much.
Too much. You know, that reminds me of the quote. I think Harry Belafonte mentioned that when the movement is strong, the music is strong. And right now we do see a different level of Black Lives Matter. And even the concept of defunding the police, which is really the reallocation of funding for some people, and then other people think that it's about actually abolishing the concept of police, because police did start from a concept of protecting property, which aka also slaves, like so. So therefore, it's different meanings, different interpretations for different people. Figure out that for yourself. But you know, when I was absolutely amazed when I watched. I think it was the BET Hip Hop Honors or Awards. I'm not even sure what the show was anymore, but every artist.
This was during quarantine.
Yeah, going on quarantine.
Yeah, everything's a blur.
It's a blur, right? But almost every segment from artists, the Baby and others, like had something to do with some type of injustice that was happening, and some of the other artists were sharing. And then you had so again, just to see BET or Viacom allowing these images be portrayed, but then seeing others, people like Nick Cannon, people like who he did an amazing
he sure did.
spoken word piece to a certain degree. Usher did I Cry. Yeah. Toby, amazing artist. Him and his wife and his whole crew.
I do remember that
they did the segment of for Arrest the Killers of Breonna Taylor.
I remember. I shared that one. You know, I don't share a lot online, but I did share that one.
Exactly. I also like he said, "Try Jesus, not me." So that's also my jam.
Yes. Okay.
And speaking of Jesus, like, it's interesting to see how you mentioned Kendrick Lamar. I love Kendrick Lamar. I love the album Good Kid, Mad City. to me, it's right up there with the Tupac Me Against the World, and because he talked about so many different aspects. He talked about aspects of what is it like for from a perspective of being a young woman who's been dealt so many horrible cards in her life, but then also being a family member of that sister, that woman, and that have that perspective, have that insight to be able to give that a voice. The song "Sing About Me" was just extremely touching because, again, it talks about people who are impacted and the greater community that's impacted. But then even his album "To Pimp a Butterfly," which had segments of Tupac spliced in there, and his song "We Go Be Alright" was literally became an anthem that we even said or sang or mentioned a couple times during different protests. But even how Ty Tribbett and the GA and GA, which is I do believe is God's Assembly, right? Is a gospel artist. Ty Tribbett has done a rendition of "We Go Be Alright." Really? Yes. I was surprised too. I was surprised as well. I'm like, am I hearing this correctly? And it was good, right? So I mean, I just appreciate that. But then also seeing how, are you familiar with Run the Jewels? No, not really. Okay, no. Yeah. So a lot of people don't. Some people do, some people don't. Run the Jewels is a duo of LP from Brooklyn. He's a rapper from Brooklyn, white guy, a dope artist. And Killer Mike. A lot of people know Killer Mike. I know Killer Mike. Right. And they actually just released their 4th album. 4? Yeah. Oh, wow. Run the Jewels 4. And one of the great things about them is that they actually have control of their own distribution, and they make their music available for free. For no charge. You can download their songs for no additional charge. But they are very conscious heavy. And to see the work that artists like Killer Mike is attempting to do to bring about awareness, to bring about justice, to be standing next to Mayor Keisha Bottoms in the midst of a lot of tragedy that was going on in Atlanta or even Georgia. Or even his participation with Stacey Abrams or Bernie Sanders. Like, it's incredible to see how hip hop has literally gone from just being there's no just. From hip hop being the aspect that is verbalizing the realities, but also positioning people and communities into places of power. So I just think that's incredible, and it's amazing to see that happening and the awareness that it continues to bring as well. So that's all I got to say about that for the moment.
I told you he can get deep on you. I'm gonna have to bring you back so we can talk politics one day. Oh, for sure, because I remember still being in around that same time frame, 1994. I was had an advanced English class, and we had to do write a poem or a song or something. And I chose the song "What's Going On" by Marvin Gaye, and it was incredible again to listening to what was happening in the 90s, or seeing and living what was happening in the 90s, still being spoken about almost prophetically. By Marvin Gaye from, 1970s, before I was even thought of. And here we are in 2020. Yeah, and we're still asking, what the hell is going on? What's going on, and why is that? Because there's a message. Oh, gosh. All right, I'm done. You silly. I'm getting out of here. So, thank you, and I look forward to hanging out with you next time. Yes, we'll have to do this again soon. All right, well, thank you so much. I had fun. I always have fun talking with him. Hey. He's silly. He gets on my nerve, but I love him to pieces. Like you say, he likes to egg me on. He's like my hype man. Yes. Anyway, thank you so much. I appreciate you all tuning in, and until the next time. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the T-Side Podcast. You can find me on Instagram at the T-Side Podcast, all one word. If you like what you heard, head on over to iTunes to rate, review, and subscribe so you don't miss any of the episodes. And be sure to tell a friend about the show. Until next time.